This is Pat Walker, Mission Winners, doing a video overview of the ETFs. Why do we look at the ETFs? These are the industry sectors, the major industry sectors. And here's a fact, not an opinion. Leading groups produce leading stocks, and leading stocks produce leading groups. So we look at the ETFs to determine what's strong, areas to look into, and areas to avoid. Both pieces of information are powerful for us, okay? Robotics, it's just kind of basing right here. It's a little choppy. Doesn't look too bad on the weekly. This is weekly on the left, daily on the right. You can see it's a little choppy here, but it's starting to show some strength. And again, it's showing a little bit of strength. We're going to build this out here. It's showing a little bit of strength here on the daily, as you can see. Weekly, daily. And what else do you know? You can say, not a lot of volume here on the daily, but this is why we look at the weekly. It's starting to pick up. BOTZ, something to take into consideration. Not just this ETF, but Google this, find out what the top 10 holdings are. Maybe there's an opportunity there. That's why we do what we do at Mission Winners, and it works. I've been doing this for years like this. Breakout opportunities, IBD breakout. There's really nothing special going on with that, folks, all right? Cloud computing, in 1 second, it says stay away from cloud computing. Move on. Commodities, what does this tell you? Just look at the daily. It's falling. Stay away from commodities. Don't overthink it. Diamonds, picking up a little bit, but still not a lot of power. Electric vehicles, picking up a little bit, okay, but not a lot of power there. Continue onwards. Dow Jones Internet, yeah, it's okay, but not great. I mean, team, everybody, you look at this chart of the IBD 50. I mean, this is a great proxy. The IBD 50, those are great stocks, okay, from Investors Daily, but it's still not a lot of power right there, is it? What does that tell you? There's a high degree of selectivity in the market. Don't be just reckless buying everything. Look for strength, and you'll see that when we go through the MAXLIST video. Here we go. First Trust Dorsey, tech related. It's below the fallen 50-day. Leave it alone. You could Google FV and find out what their top 10 holdings are and say, probably stay away from that stuff, okay? China, lagging, nothing to do with it. Gold miners, look at how this was picking up on Thursday on good volume, all right? And we picked some up down in here. We sold some into strength. That's where it's at right now. It gapped down Friday, but then closed decent. That doesn't look too bad if it takes out the highs of here, but wait for that to happen. Same thing's true with GLD. This gap down, as you can see, right here was strong, lifting off, and then pulled back. Part of that had to do with economic news, okay? Always be aware of economic news. A little bit sloppy here, okay? So you can say, Patrick, what would get you interested in this? Well, it needs to bounce off of here, and it really needs to take out the highs of here on volume. There you go. Is this a high probability setup at this moment? No, it's not. You'll find better. You'll see in a minute. Biotechnology. Look at this. You've got kind of a cup with a handle here, but it needs to take out the tops. You can say, are you interested in this a little bit? Folks, there's the price alert. I already have it set. There we go. Note also, the alert set early. We'll be ready on IBB. Okay, let's continue onwards. Oil and gas. How does this look to you? It doesn't look good at all. What does it say? Stay away from oil and gas. Done. Move on. Expand software. It's picking up a little bit, but there's not much power here, folks. What does that say? Be careful with software. It's that simple, okay? Medicine, it's chopping around a little bit, but not a lot of power. Be careful with that. Mid-cap, lagging. Look at that. What does that say? In 1 second, stay away from mid-cap stocks. There you go. Aerospace and defense, grounded. That's dad humor for you. There's nothing going on there. U.S. home construction, that one's hanging in okay, all right? By the way, we own about 4 or 5 home construction stocks right now that are doing well. And it was telling you to buy it. In a sloppy market, look at this move. There you go. And it's hanging in okay. There's no great setup at this moment, but it's trending up, and that's nice. S&P 500 growth, look at the weekly picking up here a little bit, and look at the daily. What does that say? In 1 second, it says, maybe I should look at some S&P 500 growth stocks. That's power. Small caps, stay away. Look, it's below the fallen 50-day. There's nothing to do with it. Small cap's not doing it, okay? Real estate's picking up a little bit, but it's really languishing. Look at the weekly. There's not a lot of power. You're not going to see this setup in many books saying, this is what you look for to buy, so be careful with that, all right? Transportation, that's lagging also, not a lot of power. Airlines, grounded, nothing to do with it. Regional banks, just stay away from it. By the way, please know this. I'm not trying to be cute and fancy and funny going, oh, wait, you went too fast. Just look at the chart. There's nothing there. Don't overthink it. There's nothing there. Avoid regional banking stocks. Done. Move on. Mid-cap, mid-cap, MDY, not a lot of power in the mid-cap. I want you to remember this chart. It's below the falling 50-day. It's well off the basis high, okay? Remember that. Please remember that. And you'll know why in a little bit. Oil services, stay away from oil services. Pharmaceuticals, it's okay, but it's a little sloppy here, okay? And again, notice, it lifted up some on Friday. Market had a strong move Friday. This didn't even take out the highs from a couple of days ago. And there's no volume. Be careful with pharmaceuticals. That sounds like a dad talking. Be careful with drugs. You know that. Here we go. Software lagging. Lagging. Leave it alone. That's a thin one. You'll see others. Now look at this one. I just showed you a bunch of ETFs that look kind of sloppy. How does this look to you? You go, gosh, I look at that weekly base there, Pat. It looks like a cup and a handle. Yeah, this thing came close to taking out these highs. There you go. Now you're connecting the dots. Nasdaq 100, growth stocks, big growth stocks, which is why we own like 6 or 7 of them right now. There you go. It's working. Good job. Oh, by the way, this is close to breaking out, folks. I'm giving it to you. QQQ, same situation, close to breaking out. Now, what do you look for here? This is my gift for everybody. Needs to push through those tops and push through on volume. There you go. QLD, how's that look to you? Pretty dang good to me. There we go. Let's showed it twice. Okay, retailing, it's kind of chopping around. Not a lot of power there at the time. Silver started to go in and backed off. It looks okay. It looks okay. What was the other steel or metal stock that looked pretty good? I showed you 3 of them or 2 of them. Gold and silver. That doesn't look too bad, does it? There we go. Let's continue onwards. Nothing to do with them at time. Steel. In 1 second, it says stay away from steel stocks. That's it. Look, hit new lows for the move on Thursday. Stay away from steel. By the way, that sounds like, oh, that's a really cute statement, Pat. That, folks, is a very profound statement for you. What to look for potential opportunities and what to stay away from. That's power. Semiconductors picking up a little bit, but not a lot of power there. Got a bad data point here. There we go. And that was a split in there, I do believe. But you can see there's nothing happening with semiconductors. Move on. Okay. What do we see here? Spiders picking up a little bit. Now, I just showed you QQQ and QLD. Both of them hitting highs for the move. How do the spiders look? They're well off the highs. What does that tell you? The Nasdaq 100 is doing better. Growth stocks, SSO, same situation, not as good. Solar, nothing there. Leave it alone. That's simple. Small caps lagging. Look at this. I showed you QLD, and you look at this and go, yeah, I think Nasdaq 100 growth is a better place to go. Uranium's picking up a little bit, but it's lagging. There's no power there. Oil, what does that say? Stay away from oil. Done. The industry. Now, consumer discretionary doesn't look too bad, does it? VCR, it's basing right here. All right, here's the weekly. What does it need to do? Take out this line right here. Now, here's an important lesson I'm going to share with everybody. This is my gift for everybody. Just because it's a green bar doesn't mean it's a good bar. That bar is okay. And just because it's a red bar doesn't mean it's a bad bar. You see this bar? Look where it closed, folks. It closed near the highs on the weekly on a slight pickup in volume. Folks, they bought it. They bought it in there, okay? That's why we look at weekly and daily. And you can see this base here. It needs to take out that line on volume. There you go. Continue onwards. Aerospace and defense lagging. Leave them alone. Biotech picking up a little bit. All right. XBI picking up just a little bit. What was the other one that we took note of, team? And this for everybody. What was it? IBB. Oh, 2 different biotech stocks. Now you're building a case. Home building, it's pretty choppy there. Be careful with that. Materials, pretty choppy. Be careful with that. Communication services, there's nothing really good going on there. Energy, another energy ETF. How does this look to you? Looks awful. Leave it alone. That's simple. It's fun. Financials lagging, leave them alone. Industrials lagging, leave them alone. XLK, look at that. Now watch this. That looks crummy. That looks crummy. That looks crummy. There it is. There it is. Oh, that doesn't look too bad. Oh, technology stocks. Gosh, think technology. God, what would that be? Oh, growth stocks. Yeah, a lot of growth stocks. Yeah, like Apple and Microsoft. Companies like that. Now you're connecting the dots. XLK. And that doesn't look too bad. Takes out those tops. You could also look at some of the leading technology stocks because this is a good base. That is connecting the dots. Consumer staples acting okay. All right. Healthcare, not too bad. Not too bad. Not a lot of power here yesterday, though, or Friday, as you can see. Consumer discretionary, basing, it's okay. XME, metals and mining, leave them alone. Oil service, leave it alone. Retail, leave it alone. It's done. There's nothing there. Stay away from retail. That's power. Software, not a lot of power in software. Be careful with that, okay? On the max list. Apple. Now look at Apple, how this has been lifting here and the strength that this has shown. I just showed the index, it's not doing too much. This actually picked up and hit highs for the move. Here's the weekly chart. Look at that. And it's working. Now, what was the big cause for the catalyst for this lift? They had earnings. But no, it was acting good before earnings. All right, outperforming the market on a relative strength basis. Amazon. Now, Amazon's forming a small shelf right here. It ran up on heavy volume and it pulled back on less volume. Perhaps it's going to take out these tops across here, and that may be, I'm going to draw this for you. This is for everybody. It's my gift. I'm not saying it's going to happen. Please, I don't want you to think that. See the line right there? Takes out this line. Take out the highs of that bar. The high on that bar is 105.96. Take this out on heavy volume. By the way, how was the volume Friday? Oh, gee whiz. It started to pick up off the rising 21-day moving average line on a pickup in volume. There you go. There's Amazon. Something to take into consideration to watch. Continue onward. Alibaba. How does this look to you? Don't overthink it. It looks like junk. Move on. That's it. See how easy this is? BIDU. How does this look? Well, maybe this is the bottom. I just showed you Apple coming up near highs for the entire move, and this looks like junk. Leave it alone for right now. That's it. We narrow our focus on the best of the best admission winners, and that helps us. Now, Google, how does that look? You say, that don't look too bad. I'm in agreement. That's something to take into consideration. Google, oh yes, MAXLIST stock. Folks, remember this though. We're still in earnings season. Please don't forget that. Know those dates. Don't have any surprises, okay? Be aware of it. It's a business. We're 100% prepared all the time. Goldman Sachs, what does that say? Watch this. Google, oh, it's kind of above all the moving averages. It's basing. Oh, Goldman Sachs, oh, it's kind of below all the moving averages. It's nothing. What does that say? Stay away from Goldman Sachs. Move on. MasterCard, you can see this base here on the weekly, and you can see these tops right here. That's something maybe to take in consideration on Monday or the first of next week. What does it need? Power through here. Here we go. Let's move on. Meta. See the buys down here? I'm going to show you something. Buys here, buys here, buys here. You can see sold some into strength, lifted off. And that is why, fix this, hold on. There we go. Gapped up on earnings, pulled back. We're in great shape. Own it from lower. Own it from lower. And it's working. There we go. I'm not saying buy it here, okay? And I also have to tell you, you could say, well, that was a big gap up. Did we sell some into strength before that? Yes, we did. Why? As much as it gapped up, it could have easily just gapped down. And so we control risk and locked in profits from lower buys. There you go. And I'm not saying buy it here, okay? Maybe it's going to bounce off the ADMA, though. That's something to take into consideration, all right? This is the ADMA. There's a couple of years of research on that moving average. This is the 21-day exponential moving average. There's a couple of years of research on that too. It just didn't happen by happenstance. These moving averages were locked in place at the turn of the century, okay? Yeah, we do a lot of work on this. So maybe this is going to bounce here off the ADMA. If it does, that could be a potential for a small buy. There you go. Microsoft doesn't look too bad. Own down lower, and look at this base here. Is that nice? Picked up some more there. There you go. Look at the volume pickup, hitting highs for the move. Folks, MAXLIST stocks, there they are. By the way, as I stated, volume pickup. We look for where money's going. Netflix is just kind of basing here. There's just not a lot of power at this point in time. I'd be careful with that. NVIDIA, we own NVIDIA down here. Rode this whole thing, bought more here, sold some into strength, sold more, meandered around, and then look what it did. See this? It came down to the rising. I want to show you this to train your eyes, okay? By the way, this is very important from a perceptual perspective. Look at charts before they move. Study the pattern to train your eyes and minds on what to look for. Don't always look at stuff after the fact because you'll say, oh, well, that was easy to do. No, we live in the now. So you're looking at this saying, gosh, it lifted up, Pat. This is a MAXLIST stock, folks. It lifted up and it pulled on heavy volume and it pulled back on less volume. Gosh, look, it's got support here on the rising 21 day. Maybe if it takes this out in a good market and the volume's decent, that might be a good buy. Oh, look, it did. Slight volume pickup, but a volume pickup. We bought this 2 or 3 times on Friday. There we go. It's a start. Ease into them. This is another important lesson for everybody. Never buy your entire amount at one time. If your goal is to get to 100 shares, never buy 100 shares at one time. Ease into the stock. Rules of proper pyramiding, okay? That's cancel level 3 and 4. You ease into it. You start with a starter position of maybe 20, 30, 40. On a clean and simple long base breakout, 50% goes up, you buy 30% more, goes up, you buy 20% more. That's cancel level 3 and 4, and it works. Used it for years. So now this is a pullback setup, so this is not a long base breakout. How do you control risk? You just buy less shares. There you go. There's the setup. We'll see what it does. Tesla started to lift off, a little low-level base here. Here's the one negative. Tons of overhead supply, as you can see. It's an aggressive entry. Maybe it's going to go, but just be careful with it. It is more of an aggressive entry. Continue onwards. Visa, there's nothing there. I mean, look, I just showed you some charts that, hey, they're kind of powering up. This ain't doing nothing. Leave it alone.
Thank you for watching the video. We hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please hit like. Maybe hit that subscribe button. We come up with new content nearly every day. Also, check out the videos on the right. YouTube recommends the one on the top, and the bottom one is something we thought you might enjoy. See you next time.